Welcome back, troglodytes, to the Trogly's Guitar Show. Hey, nobody ever makes 20-minute videos talking about gig bags. Except this guy. I've been curious about these gig bags, and I know I'm not alone, but they seem to have came out around 2018, 2019, and I couldn't find much about them online, what people's opinions were, and if they were actually any good or not. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to compare this new Gibson Premium soft case to the Gibson Gig Bag, and in the next video, the hard shell case. But first, let's take a look at this thing itself. They sell brand new at Sweetwater for $149, and they seem to come with like the guitars that are high-end enough that they shouldn't have a crappy gig bag, but not quite high-end enough for a proper case. This is how Gibson can offer some things at a cheaper cost. These weigh around 6 pounds. This one was like an ounce below that. It measures 42 inches long, 6 inches in depth, and 14 inches wide at the body. This has a vinyl exterior that is very leather-like. The brown color is a throwback to the original Lifton style cases, as well as the ones that they reissue now. It has a strap on it, that way you can put it on your back to carry it from gig to gig, such as in this style, or like this. It has a semi-wet padded handle to it, like it's a firm foam block that is bolted onto the case right here. It features a zippered pouch that you can hold your strap, pedals, and paperwork in. It's got bumpers on the bottom so it can stand up easier as well as protect your guitar. These are blessed with a double zipper, which makes life a little bit easier because you don't have to find, hey, which end is my zipper on this time? And the interior is red. It has a neck support in it as well as a lockdown mechanism right here that says Gibson on it, and overall, it's a pretty nice little case. It's not flimsy, but at the same time, it's not super firm either. On eBay, these seem to sell between 70 to 100 bucks, so let's go ahead and see how it compares to the Gig Bag. Soft case versus Gig Bag here. The pros the soft case has to it is it fully opens when you want to get your guitar out. Now this might be a very tiny advantage to it, but you could risk scratching your guitar with those little zipper bites at the end of it when taking it out of a regular gig bag. The edges are much firmer on this case and offer better protection. Here I'll demonstrate that by punching it in slow motion. Versus on a regular gig bag. The double zipper feature is amazing for many different reasons. As I discussed earlier, you can have one at this end and that end. You never have to go, oh, where's that zipper at? It's much easier to get this thing open quicker. Also, if one of these breaks, or for some reason that this little tab falls off, you have a backup. Whereas the traditional Gibson USA Gig Bag, it only has one zipper on there, but it's pretty much the same quality. Next, one of my most favorite things about this new premium soft case is this neck block in it, because this helps support your headstock up, and this strap helps hold your guitar in place. You can see the traditional gig bag does not have anything like that. And let me show you why that's a bad thing. Gibsons, due to tradition, they have an angled back headstock. This way they don't have to use string trees like Fenders will, but hey, that also makes this giant weakness area right here that you have to deal with. When you carry around an angled headstock like this in a gig bag like this, here's what happens. The gig bag forms to the headstock shape. You see how this now curves? This thing is just asking for its headstock to be snapped off. This is why I always hate shipping in gig bags, is because you have to put so much padding on either side of this. That way this is no longer the first thing of impact. So now you can see I have the same Les Paul in the new padded soft case. That issue is now gone. That neck block and the fact that this is a little bit thicker in general means you no longer have that curvedness that is so detrimental during shipping. So this was a fantastic idea in that aspect alone. I would have no qualms with shipping a guitar in one of these. Next, you have a larger accessory compartment on this new case. You can see right here, this thing opens up wide and like this. There is so much room in here. I mean, sure, you've got your strap and other case candy from this original guitar, but look at all that room. And it'll buckle out like this, so you could fit like 6 effects pedals in there. You could get a couple of leads and patch cables. You really could put a bunch of stuff in here, and I love that. Whereas on the traditional Gibson Gig Bag style, sure, it has a compartment, and it looks like it's pretty spacious from the outside, but once you try to actually stuff things in there, it's very crowded and crammed, and it kind of pushes against your guitar. I remember I kept my fret light in this thing, and it was so hard just to get that one lead in here because it was so big. Next, let's face it, this thing's pretty. It's more attractive than a regular gig bag. Now, that could be opinion, but if you're a Gibson diehard fan, I think you're gonna like this Lifton reissue brown over this more plain cloth black. Furthermore, the handles on these, they're just infinitely better. You've got the foam block in here. Again, it's not like super squishy or anything, but it feels substantial in your hand. And like the threading's not just gonna rip off from it. Whereas these guys use a Velcro system as your padding and just these 2 straps that are sewn into it. Now, are these perfectly secure? Yes. But as secure as the new case? No, not quite as good. If you like to put these on your back, you're gonna love this new one because look at the nice padding on this. That's nearly a good inch thick right here. And also notice it's nice and wide. You've got about almost 3 inches there. As compared to this one, it's just your standard like cheap strap. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this, but if you have a heavy Norland era Les Paul in here, it might start weighing on your shoulder. And the final pro that I could think of is this new one might be slightly more resistant to staining. Like if you spill a pop on this material does not feel like it will absorb it. It feels almost like it's more waterproof. Whereas this material, yeah, I don't think it's gonna super absorb it either, but it will a little bit. So that's the pros for this new soft case versus the old styled gig bags. Obviously this one's gonna be better, but is there any reason why this is worse than the old gig bags? Yes. If you were a thief, which one would you steal? I bet you answered this one, because this thing, it just says steal me. It looks so much better than this one that it's gonna attract more attention, which is not always a good thing. Next, this guy is 4 times more expensive new. A deluxe gig bag from Sweetwater currently costs $40 new, whereas this is a whopping $149. Once you're on the used market, you're at about $80 here and probably $20 for the other one. So that same almost 4 times as expensive definitely holds true. If you scuff this guy up or your cat scratches it or something, you also will be a little bit more sad about this. Because as these things wear, I think some of that beautiful luster of them might wear off. Whereas that other gig bag, you probably really don't care. And finally, you know, just like any case versus gig bag, this has a larger footprint to store. You could store between 2 and 3 of the original gig bags in the same amount of space as you could as one of these. So these are good if you just need a dust cover. But, you know, if money's no comparison, you're just wondering which one's better, definitely get one of these. But, how does this thing compare to the Gibson hardshell case? Unfortunately, I ran out of time today, so these two will have to duke it out later on this week. Thank you, Troglodytes, for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to see this upcoming episode, and we will see you tomorrow on the next one. Take care.